government can use the technology to prevent stolen identity. This is a huge topic, and the problem is actually adoption of the technology. And like I said, well, we have pitched. We are right now, my company, through our business partners, we are pitching to use our technology on things like we are using number plates, but we're talking about COVID passports, we're talking about passports and IDs. But simply, very simply, to answer your question, you imagine and in a way, these ideas are actually already being used. So let me use a real example in South Africa. Imagine your driver's license. That barcode that's in there contains contains a little photo of you, and it includes a template for your fingerprint. Okay. Now, right now, that barcode is encrypted and not digitally signed, which is a whole topic by itself. But yes, this technology, they could just use a digital signature there to prove to make sure that nobody can tamper that. And then if I present my license to you, you can scan it and check my biometrics and make sure that this license really belongs to me. So in a way, I would argue that companies at security gates, they are already doing something like that. How can government actually do it? Well, they must just actually start implementing it on the bigger scale. I guess they are kind of doing it with the new passports, but yeah, I guess they should be doing more. I hope that answered the question.
Fantastic, thank you. Thank you, Yesaya, for the question. Devin, we live in a world where deepfakes are becoming commonplace. How can I verify the authenticity of a particular video, and could it be done using blockchain?
Yes, that is definitely something that can be done. So there are projects out there that try and do things like this. So imagine, okay, so I'm just going to just kind of spit out a couple of ideas, but there can theoretically be a QR on every frame that has been signed by the person making the video. And in theory, you can tell, I'm now making an extreme scenario here. You can tell your browser to only play videos that has every frame digitally signed by, and therefore is trusted only by sources. But in general, if I had the correct solution, the golden solution, the silver bullet, I would be selling it right now. This is something that, maybe you guys must try and build. I think there are a lot of innovative ways to do it, and the way I just explained is probably one of the most terrible ones. So, yeah, data can be signed. You can sign the video. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks. Custos Media, that's what they're involved in. Zukisa, can any breakthrough in solving such mathematical problems or increasing the computing power render a signature vulnerable?
Yes, this is actually so not too long ago, you guys and Skulk talked about the SHA-1 issues. So I didn't mention the signing algorithms that use SHA-1 because thou shalt not be named. But basically, there was a couple of signing schemes that uses the SHA-1 hashing algorithm, and the SHA-1 hashing algorithm was was just getting too old, and people found a whole bunch of vulnerabilities. You know, people found problems in this algorithm, and it made that people was able to fake create. What they did is they would pad the content with this little piece of random data, which would create a collision for the hash, and that would produce the same signature. And so in that way, they hacked the signature. So, and this is how they would effectively create a document that the content is completely different, but the signature is the same. And it's because they exploit a vulnerability in the hash, which was because somebody found a vulnerability in that algorithm. And you know, at the moment, the popular algorithms are things like ECDSA. If somebody finds a problem with ECDSA, which mathematicians don't think is going to happen, but who knows? Yeah, it's going to be a disaster. Just one more thing on this topic. There are you know, the scary monster on the horizon is the whole quantum cryptography, you know, thing. I've spoken to some very smart people. They're not worried about it, but there are projects going on the internet right now that make signing, that they are making algorithms that will be quantum cryptography proof for making signatures and these types of things. You can Google it. So people are working on it. I hope that answered the question.
Awesome,
Okay,
thank you.
So sorry, these things jump around. Alex, you'll have to tell me which one's
next.
next.
I'll just for the sake of the video.
I'll stop sharing.
Okay, Arthur asks, which online service would you recommend that provides reliable document signing?
Well, one of these days, hopefully mine. But I will. But our product is not ready yet, so I will not get into that. I have to say, at the moment, there are not really. I don't really know about providers that do offline document signing in the way that we are doing. But there are companies, and there's one company I know of in Norway called Signicat that they have a really good product. But you just be careful when you look at these products that it's when a lot of the companies that are not worth their salt, when they talk about document signing, they talk about putting a picture of your handwritten signature on the document. That's what they think of as digital signing. They don't actually use any cryptography to. They don't actually add any cryptography. So. Sorry, I only know about this one company and my own company, but we don't have a public offering right now. We only target mass document providers at the moment. And if anybody wants to talk to me about that, I'm more than keen.
Yeah, well, you're at no liberty to share your competition at all. Freddie asks, how is this applied to an offline environment?
Okay, so in an offline environment, it's a bit of a mouthful, but I will give the vision. This is what our current solution is about. So what we do is we encode not only, so we have a way that we select the important fields from a document. We create a data structure using the important fields from the document, and then we hash that and we sign this important fields. We then take these important fields and we use a strategy to really optimally encode this data and the signature. Think of like how JWT does claims and the signature, something like that. And we squash it into a barcode. So if I find this document in the field, as long as I have the instructions on how to decode this barcode correctly, and I have the public key with me, that I should have obtained through a trusted mechanism, I can decode this in the field. Now, what we do and what the standard we implement, how we do it, is we embed the public key and the instructions on how to decode the barcode. We embed these things into the X509 certificate, which fits nicely into the whole PKI infrastructure that already exists for a lot of solutions. So just in summary, your certificates, which that contain the public key and this information, has to already be on the device for offline for your offline verification. Once you have the certificates, you can verify anything offline. And once you can verify anything offline, you understand that you can sign offline because you have the public key or the private key, your own private key offline. And once you put these things together, you can start enforcing processes using simple signing and verification. I hope that made sense.
Freddie, does that make sense to you?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. All right, next question. We have a few minutes. Oh, let's see. Yaku, if an attack is introduced in the beginning of the chain, will it not create a negative reaction as each one will sign the fake and create a false truth?
Yes. This is a bit how it works. So yes, if at the time of signing, in the very beginning, so if we think about the story I told of the guys, the Cape Town guy signs, and if the guy in Cape Town, the harbor master in Cape Town, if he was lying there, or there was some problem with his system, yes, that mistake would propagate through the whole system. Now, in something like Bitcoin, they have ways to mitigate those problems. For a solution like the one I described, I'm going to say, yes, it's a problem, but at the very least, you can detect exactly where the problem occurred. So you can trace the issue.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay. Then Emmanuel asks, I'm wondering, how does the hash and signature of any change made on the document?
So no, the hash and signature can't. The hash and signature can't know if you took a little black pen and you changed the 3 to an 8, right? But what you can do is you can build software that can guide the user to say, check these things, and this is what should be on the document. And that is what my company does. We build software that does exactly that. So it's because, in offline systems, you have documents, and we believe that, especially in Africa, we're still going to have, and bureaucracy, we're going to have physical documents for a long time. Best we try and build tools that allow anybody to really put trust into these actual documents.
Fantastic. Just as a side note, we have a neck and neck race here for the prize. There are 2 prizes up for grabs, and I thought the headphones and there's a JetBrains license. So I just checked JetBrains license. If you go with idea, that prize is worth $149 US, which is quite a bit of money. And so between that and the headphones, I don't know, but please just go into Slido, click that link, and just help us settle this winner. Just vote for the question that you like most and that you think, yeah, just totally subjective. Okay, so I think Arthur's question is next. Other question: is the same principle used in passports and ID cards?
Yes, these days. So if you look at, I invite you to go and take your old, if you have an old Green Book ID, and if you scan the barcode in there, you'll see it's just a number. There's no security in there. It's just your ID number. But the new generation of, especially things like your license disc, but the new generation, I believe I actually can't remember, I'm on correction, but I believe they do sign in the barcode. But what they definitely do is inside the RFID chip there, they put a digital signature that works in the same way. The new COVID passport standards that they use in the EU, that one is definitely a signed data structure as well. So, so yes, it depends on the country, it depends on specific document. In South Africa, sorry, I'm not actually sure. I'll have to check.
Okay. One or two more questions. When signing documents or JSON objects, as an example, would it be a good idea to sign it with the X509 key, self-signed, or paid for cert be best?
Okay, so this is now, I would say it depends on the solution. So, and it depends who you're building it for. Then if you're building a solution for your school or for even for your, if you work for a big company like Takealot and it's for your delivery notes or something like that, I would say just go for a self-signed key. You're avoiding a lot of politics and regulations and things like that. And tell everybody it's a self-signed key. The problem when you start going with big solutions, you start you start kind of stepping on the toes of bigger guys, and there's lots of regulations and things going around. And if you were to just sign something with your SSL certificate, for example, then in that certificate there are these limitations that says this is what the certificate is supposed to be used for. Now, when you clicked I agree on their policy, you probably agree that you'll only use those certificates for what they'll be used for. Now, if you're signing documents or JWT tokens with something where you agreed that you wouldn't, yeah, that is something that you should think about. I'm not sure if they do that. I've been told they do that. But in terms, if you ask me in terms of security, as long as if you have a good way to distribute your self-signed certificates, and you build up a proper chain, you set up your own RA and your own CA, and you manage those things properly, I think it's okay. If you're a bank, I would say no. Go speak to the proper providers, and make a deal, and buy a proper certificate and key and use the proper existing infrastructure that you trust.
Awesome, thank you. And a very last question. Sorry to those whose question we're not going to have time for, but you're welcome to. I'm sure they can get hold of you, Stephan. You're on the meetup page, and you're on TrueVolve.co. That's your company, hey?
Yes.
TrueVolve.co. Yeah, this autocorrect is killing me. There we go. So the very last is from Mo. Are there any drawbacks to using digital signing?
So sorry, I cut up there for a moment. Sorry, Alex.
Are there any drawbacks to using digital signing?
Well, of course, there's drawbacks to anything. But it depends on your requirements. The drawbacks of signing something, let's say, opposed to not signing something, is that you have to go through the effort of signing it and all the effort politics that comes with it. If you compare it with encryption, the downside is that you're not actually hiding the content, right? Anybody can see the content. but maybe you care, maybe you don't care. So, you know, like this is the trade-off. Yeah, that's what I think.